Hello and welcome to question and answer number 5. Today we're going to be handling another YouTube comment. This one's from episode 3 and it's from Mr. 31ED. Would you be able to do a video about how you got to your 200 kg plus bench? What exercises you found best? How you got through plateaus? How long it took? And how you could have avoided injuries, etc. Follow your journal on Sugden. Look forward to the video, Elliot. Thanks for the comment, Elliot. Well, first things first, to get to 200 kilo bench, unfortunately you're probably going to have to be born with the ability to bench over 200 kilos. And there's not a lot of lifters naturally who can get over 200 kilos at like 100 kilo or around 100 kilos or less body weight. There are a few, but it doesn't seem to be a normal thing to be able to do. As far as it's kind of an example, I got to 160 kilo bench press with 2 years of training, and I got to 170 within the next month. The only thing that stopped me getting to 170 faster was actually didn't have a gym membership for like four months when I was at uni. Kind of fall off the bandwagon from second year to third year. But yeah, I got from 160 to 170 in about 2-3 months, and then I pick up my labrum tear, which we'll cover later. And I well, that's what I think has been the same labrum tear for the last since 2006. So that'll be 2015? So it'll be 9 years. I only got it diagnosed last year, but I've been struggling with shoulder issues for as long as I can remember, best part of a decade. So we'll just answer your questions as we go. What exercise did I find best? Bench press is the best exercise for bench press. I think if you want to get better at any exercise in powerlifting, weightlifting, whatever it is, you need to prioritize time with that exercise. I think if I was to go back to the start again, I'd probably bench 2 times a week for the first year or 2, and then move up to 3 times a week, and just spread my volume throughout the week. So I'd lift maybe 3 sets of 3 every day, or 3 sets of 5, or whatever it was, and I would lift in like a non-fatigue state. I wouldn't do it anywhere near as much kind of rep out training as I have done in the past. Heavy singles I've done in the past. Although it worked, I think I probably would be in a better play. I probably would have a bigger bench if I kind of stuck to a less kind of fatigued training state most of the time. But there's a whole mix of things I did to get my bench where I have. The biggest plateau I had was actually 180 was my biggest plateau. I was on 170 for a long time. This is all off the top of my head memory. I've got logs on. I kept a log on T Nation at the time. And I've got the trainings on there if you can find it or dig it out. But yeah, kind of where I got to, the stage where I got from like 170 to 185 was I went in a program that was just 3 sets of 5. It was a 2 time a week program. It's for 3 up weeks. So let's say you wanted to bench 160 for 3 sets of 5, then you would do 95% of that load for 3 sets of 5 on week 2, and you do 90% of that load for 3 sets of 5 on week 1. Week 4 would be a deload, 85%, and then you just add like 2.5% to the loads and keep running that cycle. That cycle worked really well, and it took me from 170, like I said, to 185 in probably 3-4 months. And it did stall out after 3 or 4 months, but I think the reason it stalled out was because I just used the same sets and reps. I think the idea behind it of having like 2 easier weeks, a hard week, and then a down week is sound. It's based off Mike Stone's work with the USA weightlifting team and the endocrine responses to various training loads and weeks. We'll not get into that study. How you got through plateaus? Plateaus are a funny one. You kind of it depends what your plateau is based on. If you're reasonably new to training, you've been training for 2, 3 years, 4 years maybe, your results aren't that great in the gym, and you've been stuck on a weight for 2, 3 months, your plateau is probably down to you're either stagnation, so you're trying to do the same workout over and over again, and you're trying to expect the same results. It's the definition of insanity. You're kind of at the edge of your technical proficiency. So if your body weights remain the same, you're still natural, or you're still in the same body as you were the last few months, and you're trying to bench with the same form, and you're just getting nowhere, and you try different programs, you're not getting anywhere. It could just be that you're kind of to the point with your movement pattern or your technique that you've kind of reached the point where without getting bigger, you're not going to lift any more weight. So it could be technically you're not great, so you could need to do technique. So technique can help you break through a plateau. Programming variation can help you break through a plateau. You could be you're training too hard, so you're doing rep out training week in, week out. You're trying to get 100 kilos to 10, and that's all you're doing once a week. So you could break through a plateau by bringing down the intensity of your training sessions, maybe taking the same volume and splitting it over 2 sessions, and concentrating more on speed of execution and the technique that you're doing those reps. So you'll get the same volume, so you will get the same training effect, but the execution will be better, and the speed of the bar will be better, and your progress will be better as a result. So it could be you train too hard, so you take the same volume and split it across. You could be training with an insufficient frequency, so you can up your frequency. Basically, there's untold ways you can break through plateaus, and I've done pretty much all of them at some stage to get past where I've been at. So I was trying to condense 9 years of training into 9 minutes of video. It's fairly difficult. So, and to break through a plateau, there's any myriad things you can do. You can change your loading cycles, get heavier, up your frequency, up your volume, stop training under to fatigue all the time, things that I've done in the past. You're probably not going to break through a plateau by changing your exercise selection, although that might help with the change in state of fatigue, or you're training hard, but you're training hard in different planes. So you're no longer fatigued in the flat bench press. So you switch to a cycle where you're doing like incline press, decline press, and then you come back to bench and you're not so fatigued anymore, so you find it easier to progress. So that's somewhere where exercise variation might help. How long did it take? I started lifting when I was 18. I'm now 29. My first 200 kilo plus bench press was in 2012, 2011. Certainly within the last 3 years. I can't remember the exact date. It was like Christmas Eve. I want to say Christmas Eve 2012. Could be Christmas Eve 2011. So that's from start, probably like 7 years from the first 200 kilo plus bench, 6-7 years. Can't remember exactly. How could you avoid injuries? So the way I caused my injury was I made up my own program. It was based off a T Nation article where I was kind of doing bodybuilding training at the time. So what I was doing, I would do a traditional split. I was actually doing upper lower split. So my upper days, I was doing bench push pull sort of training, like a quad dominated lower day off, push pull day, and then like a hip dominated lower body day on a Friday. So what I was doing was, I can't remember the name of the article, but it was suggesting that you could kind of increase the density in the gym by, rather than having a rest period, you could do some exercise between the rest periods. So it got to the point where I would do my upper body workout, but then on my lower body workout, I would say do some squats, and then I'd do like 20 press ups, do a set of squats, 20 press ups, maybe I was doing lunges, then I was doing dips. So it was basically pressing 4 days a week with a high volume, and eventually my shoulder snapped off. And I never seen a doctor. It was retarded. If you ever get injured, go see a doctor, go see a physio, get a solution as quick as you can, because it's definitely cost me progress in the gym, no question about it. I don't know, I'd probably be at my goal now of 220 kilos if I've had seen someone at the time to get it managed and get some help with it. It's going to need surgical intervention at some stage, but not now because I can train with it, so it's fine. Best way you can avoid injuries is train smart. Don't train to fatigue. Leave the rep out training to once in a while if you fancy it. Doing it constantly is going to definitely result in injury at some point. It might not happen now. It might not happen 3 years down the line. It might happen 5, 6 years down the line. But if you train to rep out, you train to failure all the time, eventually something's going to give. It's a high fatigue, high demand sort of training. And even with steroids, eventually something's going to crack, something's going to give. So it doesn't matter if you're natural or not. Training in that manner where you're just constantly going to fatigue, going to failure all the time, the body eventually is going to give out. Your tendons, muscles, they can only remodel. They can only repair at X amount of speed. You can't really change that. So if you're constantly stressing the body to an extreme state, week in, week out, like I have done in the past, I did for years, eventually going to run into some kind of injury. If you train in a more traditional manner where you're doing a set workload, sets times reps at load, however many times a week, and you're concentrating on speed of execution, and you're just getting the volume in the week, and you just gradually bring that volume up in a systematic, logical manner, your chance of injury in weight training is very low. It's probably still going to happen at some stage, but it's much less than if you train to fatigue and failure all the time. So the best way to avoid injury is train smart, and have good form as well. Good form definitely reduces the chances of injury. Hope that's answered your question. Any questions or comments, leave them below. Any emails you want to send, speedpowerperformance@gmail.com. Visit the website forums, castironstrength.com. This is Mark, castironstrength.com, signing off. Until next time, ciao.